Hey everyone, this is Pig for Life, and today I'm doing a video review for Mastermind Creations Feralcons, the entire team. I'm going to be showing you how to actually combine them into Predaking, or Feral Rex as Mastermind Creations calls them, as well as talk about how to combine all the different weapons that came with these guys. Okay, so let's start off with Fortis. So we're going to make the legs first and build our way up. And I'll walk through all of the transformations with you guys. So the first thing I like to do is actually get the head out of the way first. So I just flip that up and then flip the entire rhino head down. And there's a little tab, as you can see here on the front, and a slot in the middle of the chest that pegs into securely. Alright, then I'm going to rotate the hands in, come around back, unpeg the rhino forelegs from both sides. That will allow me to rotate the shoulder pieces and then use the double jointed elbow to tab in here. There we go. And the last thing you're going to need to do is close up the elbow. Okay, so that's one side. Just do the same thing on the other side. Just rotate the shoulder piece, fold up the forearm, and then tab in the elbow. Alright, next what we're going to do is pull open the shoulders so they unpeg here, and you're going to want to rotate them downwards, and that will give you the space in between. So before the combiner port was blocked, just rotate it down, and then you can actually rotate the combiner port up. Alright, just rotate it all the way up for now. And we'll deal with these in a second. So going to the lower body, you're going to transform him very much like you did to get him into Rhino mode. So just move these knees forward. You're going to position the, well actually you're going to rotate the waist 180. And then you're going to position these weird hip cover pieces towards the chest. Then you can open up the leg panel. And then you're going to need to pull the foot out like so and rotate it through. And that will allow you to eventually tab the foot into the back panel. But before we do that, let's deal with the rest first. So open that up. Oh, I forgot to, if you have the leg panel, go ahead and rotate that on both sides so it creates a thinner leg. Okay. Now we can rotate the leg into the calf. Okay. Then come around back. Now you can actually tab the foot in. And you want to do that after because it makes it hard to get the leg panel completely open if you do that before. And then close that up. Lastly, rotate the knee pad or kneecap down. So same thing on the other side. Oh, the one thing I missed was that you want to open this flap and get that that hip cover down there. So again, open that up, pull the heel through and back around like so. Again, that'll give you enough clearance. Go ahead and open this piece up again so that we can get this hip cover through. So rotate it up and around. Fold the hip cover in, fold that up. Rotate the leg panel closed, and then tab the foot into place. Alright, and then lastly the kneecap. Alright. So I'm going to bring in one of the feet and the corresponding foot that stores. And the corresponding fist that stores. Just pull out the fist for now. You're going to want to pull this up like so, and then rotate it around. All right, and then these two pegs actually have, and this kind of joint slide in between Bovis's legs, and you just close them up. Just make sure you have it inserted all the way, close that up, and the foot is pretty much done. What you're going to need to do with these that we started out with is rotate them down. Rotate these legs up, and there's a peg that on each of these panels that goes into the outer part of the foot. So tab both of those in. Once you have those tabbed in, you can actually tab these two halves into place. And then last but not least, rotate the foot. And what I do is peg the upper one, the upper slot on the hoof, onto this panel here. Just insert that all the way in on both sides. And you have one foot done. So it's basically the same thing for Fortis because he's the same. So we're gonna hurriedly go through that. Just flip up the face, rotate the alt mode head down, unpeg the hooves, rotate the shoulder. Oh, I'm sorry, still have one of these arm fillers in. Just ignore that, people. That was one of the arm fillers that came with Tigris. So then fold the fists in, or the hands in, because they're not really fists. Use the double jointed elbow to go ahead and get those arms in place. Alright, great. And again, to deal with the combiner port, we need to pull the shoulders out, rotate this down a little bit, and then you can have access to the combiner port. The one on my Bovis is a lot tighter than the one on my Fortis. As you can tell, I'm struggling with this one. There we go. Have it all the way rotated up. Alright, we'll deal with that later. Again, rotate 180 degrees at the waist. Get these hip pieces around to the chest. Push them up just to get them out of the way for now. Open the leg panels. Once you have it opened up, you can slide the heel through. And get it around like so. Same thing with the other side. Open up, rotate the heel through and around. And if you had the thigh pieces rotated out, rotate them to the back. I didn't have them out this time. Rotate the leg through. Okay. Rotate the hip piece in. Close that up. Same thing on this side. Rotate it up and through. Get the hip piece down. Alright. Then coming to deal with the back, which is kind of a mess. Close up the leg panels. Fold down the feet and tab those in. Okay, and then fold up the knees. Again, we're going to bring in the other foot this time. Take out the fist. Pull up. And angle it around like so. Slide that in the legs and make sure it's all the way in. And just snap that around. Should all peg in nice and neatly. Okay, great. So here, rotate these down again, peg in these black pegs to the outer foot hole on both sides. peg the two halves together. Like so. Rotate the hooves around, the legs around. Oh, sorry, I didn't peg in the elbows earlier. Just peg this in. There we go. And then plug the hooves in. And then we have the other leg done. Easy, right? Let's move these off to the side for now. We'll go ahead and deal with Leo Dux next. We'll start from the bottom. Push the feet all the way up and then lay the toe down. Again, slide that up on that mechanism and then fold the toe down. Coming from the back, fold up the heels like so and tab them in. Pull down the connector port. Okay. And then from here, the legs really have options. They have the fully extended if you want to keep it tall. You can collapse it into two more settings. There's one that's right around here, right around the knee joint. That's the one I like. Or you can collapse it all the way up. Doesn't really matter which one you do. It's really for your display purposes. So again, slide it up. I'm going to do it to the middle one because I think that's the best in terms of just versatility, because it does give you access to that knee joint and also the separating red joint here. It's not coming out right now. Oh, sorry, that's where it separates, at that joint, to go forward. Alright, dealing with the crotch plate. Oops, and didn't have that on there. So the crotch plate is normally on the back like so. What you're going to want to do is split Leo Dux's legs, and you're going to untab just the front section. So it's hard to see. It might be easier just to show you. So there's two sections if you look at it here. You want to untab that. Okay. You're going to want to rotate that down and around like so, but then there's also an arm that you need to untab. So when you go like this and pull this out, you'll see these two hinges come out. Alright. Have that go down. And then you have the crotch plate come up. You have a little tab here that you need to swing out that will go directly into the crotch. Just need to get it lined straight and push that in securely. And then you can rotate the legs down. Okay. Okay. And then you can fan out the guard as well. Alright. Then on the side, you have these panels that kind of float. They're on double hinges. I hate these things. I wish they were a bit more secure or had some ratchets in them, because every time you touch them, they just fold back up. And they're supposed to make it look like he has a cohesive hip joint, but it does a pretty poor job of doing that. Okay, so that's it for the lower body. For the upper body, let's go ahead and deal with the arms first. Just open up the panels on the back, rotate Leo Dux's hands in and close that up. I think the instructions say to rotate it, but mine closes just fine without having to do any of that. Go ahead and bring out the combiner boards on the shoulders. I actually hope I was on camera for most of this. I have to be paying attention. Alright. You want to get the paws unpegged and rotate them around like so. They kind of sit in place here, not really. But again, untab them, rotate a 180, and then fold them down up over the fists. And then there's a tab here that goes into the shoulder. But before you do that, rotate the arm, the shoulder, so that the combiner port can go up like so, 90 degrees. And that way, when you peg this in, the reason you do that is because there's actually a tab on the chest here that has the corresponding peg hole. So get that knocked out in one go. So use the double jointed elbows to tab in this portion, and then make sure that that chest tabs in as well. And you kind of have to just feel around for it since you can't see it, but it's pretty secure once you have that, and that way the shoulders don't rotate. Alright, let's deal with the lion head next. Go ahead and pull out the lion head, and it's hard to see, but what you do from here is you pull out the extra main that folds down on these kind of ball joints, and that goes down like so. And then you have to kind of reach in here and get the other piece. It's hard to show, but you have two other pieces, the larger pieces that rotate around. I'm trying to get the best view of it. There we go. Just get those to come around these small pieces, and they rotate all the way up like that. Alright, before you peg that back in, what you're going to want to do is pull up on this back panel. Okay, so that worked there. It was easier just to pull up on the neck joint, but basically you want to pull up and back, and that opens up the head mechanism, and you're going to want to rotate the heads like so, 180 degrees, and then fold it back up. And make sure this ball jointed section is all the way back up like so. Otherwise you're going to have problems. And then we rotate that back down. Then we can get the lion neck gap filling mechanism down in here. And at the bottom of the lion head, as before, you peg that into the chest. And then we have most of the upper body done. And then you can go ahead and pull, peg in, I guess, or combine them with the legs. So you just need to grab on securely and push it in. There we go. Let's pull back Feralrex for now, push it all the way back. Alright, so more than halfway done, guys. So with Tigris, go ahead and open up the arms, fold in, close that up, and then you can actually fold the paw up as well. Same thing on this side, open up the panel, fold in the hands, close it up, fold up the panel. You're going to do a very similar thing that you did before. You're going to want to rotate these two pegs into these slots here, but once again you're going to want to rotate the shoulders forward first, like so. You're going to tab that in. This tab is kind of finicky. You do have to push in to get it to kind of sit in place. And then, as before, there is a small tab on the forearm that has a corresponding slot in here, which is again going to be hard to see. Just rotate that around, and that will peg in securely. Come on, there we go. So again, so here's a better look at that tab hole. and then this is the tab, well, on the other side actually. But go ahead and rotate the arm into the slots, tab that in, tab that in, come on Tigris, work with me. There we go, tab that in, and rotate the shoulder so that that black tab goes in correctly. There we go. Alright, so to deal with the head, it doesn't really say exactly which way you're supposed to fold it, but I fold it the same way I do in combiner mode. Rotate the head around, fold it flat. And it says to bring up just the hinge piece, not the entire chest. And bring the alt mode head up like so. Okay, with the lower body, much of the same as before. If you haven't folded the leg panels in place or out of the way so that they're back in line with the thighs, do that now. I've already done that from before, so rotate that all the way through. Oops, sorry, I should actually rotate that through first. Alright. Get all the way through. Same thing with this side. Don't peg it in yet, again, because you're going to need that knee piece to come around. Close the panels. Rotate the knee pieces through. And tab in. Then you can tab in the foot. Alright. Then we bring in, I always bring in the left fist. Oh, actually, you're going to want to position the elbow. So if you rotate the waist, depending on how you want it to bend. So if you want to have this orange piece where the ratchets are, right below the ratchets, have that facing the way you want the arm to fold. So I'm just going to fold it inwards for now. Well, actually, not here. I'll just fold it straight out this way. And then you want the feet facing outwards. And then you just take the combiner fist, plug it in between the legs, and just peg the two halves together. Okay. And we're done with that. We can plug him in as well. Well, let's put him off to the side for now. With Talon, much of the same as with Tigris, since they are both limbs. Take off the wings first. Fold in the hands. You're going to tab in the arms to the side here. Again, there's a tab on the elbow and a slot right there. Gonna tab that in. You can rotate the guns back. And again, use the double hinged elbows to get tabs to go into the shoulders. Nothing complicated. All these are very similar. With the face, just fold that up. Pull out the beak if you had it positioned up, and then fold that kind of down and forward, like so. Okay. So again, deal with the waist however which way you want the bend to go. You want this tail piece outward on the outside of the arm though. There we go. With the legs, go ahead again. If you had these to the side, these thigh pieces to the side, rotate them back. Rotate the feet up and tab them in. Open up the leg panels, rotate that all the way in. Close the leg panels. And then take the left fist, or whatever fist that you prefer. Have that plug in to both sides. Tab that in. Alright. And both the arms are done. So let's scooch out a bit. And go ahead and take the arms and plug them in. Okay. There we go. Almost done. You're going to want to rotate around to the back. And in order to get the wing, if you want these cannons, you can extend them, but again, they don't really stay up. At least on mine, they're supposed to be stoppers. I heard some people disassemble them and they show stoppers that just don't work that well. But if you want them pointed up, you can leave them like this. If you want them to articulate, you're gonna have to articulate them now. So I'm gonna articulate them forward just so you can see. And then use the ports on the back to go ahead and plug in Talon's wings. And then pose them however you'd like. As always, these side hip guard pieces just go wherever they want to go. I really do not like that design. Alright, can we actually get this guy completely in frame? No, I cannot with my current setup. But yeah, that is Leo Dux in combined, not Leo Dux, Feralrex in his final combined form. There is going to be a 6-member Felisaber that you can combine as well with him, but this is the complete official Leo Feralrex. Why do I keep saying Leo Dux? Feralrex. And he's massive. He's awesome. I love him. I'm really glad I picked him up. He is a little finicky to pose. The ball joints that really are his ankles are a little weaker than I would have liked, but the rest of his joints are pretty solid. Mastermind Creations was pretty clever in thinking of how to get more posability out of him. That's why you have that weird backwards joint near the red section of Leo Dux. But otherwise, I think he's awesome. He does have so when you rotate him, his arm is not supposed to do that. I guess the tab came, oh, there we go, tabbed it back in. But you do have nice ratchets everywhere. They're nice and tight for the arms and the legs as well. So you have ratchets on the actual combiner piece coming out of Leo Dux, and also in the actual port itself, the port articulation. So all 4 of those have kind of, each joint has kind of 2 points of ratcheting. All right, what I'm going to show next is how to combine his weapons, which he has a ton of. So first we're going to go ahead and form the large sword called the Oppenheimer sword. So when you get all the members of Feralrex with Leo Dux, you get these 2 so big swords, as well as these kind of 2 halves of clubs, or whatever you want to call them. With Tigris, you get these, what they call the thermal daggers. You get the laser daggers. With Talon, You get some more daggers. I don't even know what these daggers are called for Bovis, and these daggers for Fortis, these spike daggers. So it can be pretty confusing. There are a few different options that you can do with this. But to form the Oppenheimer sword, the official Oppenheimer sword, what you need to do is, actually it's probably easiest to start with the thermal sword, no, not the thermal, the Fortis dagger and the Talon dagger. And what you do is you take this little tab at the bottom and plug that into the hilt here. And then there's a section where the hilt goes into this gap here, and you need to rotate in this little tab into this section. Like so. Okay? Then you take the thermal dagger and you take the bottom of Fortis's dagger and put that into the handle. And that's it. So you do that for the other side as well. So again, take Talon's dagger and Fortis's dagger. Tab that in. And you kind of like crisscross it and close it like that. That's the easiest way I guess I can describe it. So you go like that and then you straighten it out. And then take the thermal dagger from Tigris again and plug that in. Okay. With the Leodux stuff, you take these club pieces and combine them. Actually, am I forgetting something? I feel like I'm forgetting something. Was I supposed to plug? Oh, sorry. So you plug one half in, and you take these tabs here and here, and they have corresponding slots on Bovis's dagger. So you need to actually plug those in first, in one half. And then take the other half and peg that in. Alright. Now you'll take the big swords and you're going to separate them, rotate them, plug them in like so. Same thing on this side. Plug it into the slot here. Then you take the two halves and actually peg them together lengthwise. And you'll hear them kind of all tab into place. And you get this massive dual-handled sword. At the bottom they have holes and they have corresponding tabs in the sword you just made, the hilt you just made. And that goes like so. Then you take both of these combination daggers that we looked at earlier, and what you do is basically slide them into the side. So this little indent here is for this tab here, and you slot in the rest. You basically just slot it in sideways. You just feel it out. Nothing complicated, but that's what you do. And let's do the same for the other side. Just kind of get it aligned, tab that in. And then you have the Oppenheimer sword. And this sword is huge. It's actually taller than Felrex himself by a good, 3 inches at least, 4 inches maybe. And for him to hold it, there are tabs. Several tabs, there's like 4 tabs along the handle. And since the handle does bend, just make sure it's positioned so that the support is supporting down, so that when you hold it from this way, it actually stays up. Because otherwise it's going to go like that. Then you can choose whichever hand you want it to go into. These claws always kind of get in the way. I'm going to fold them up. and you have corresponding slots in the palm. Just peg that in. Oops. And close up the hands. And he's more than strong enough to support that weight without it drooping or anything like that. So to get the combined gun formed, we'll bring out the concussion blaster from Tigris as well as his rifles. Get the sniper rifle from Talon, the 2 handguns from Fortis and Bovis, and then the cannons from Fortis. So the first thing that you need to do is bring in the cannons, because as they come out they're exactly the same, but you actually need to peg them together. The instructions show that you're supposed to peg them together like this around the base of the concussion blaster, but people are kind of confused because that doesn't work. These are actually on a rotating mechanism, these pegs, so you can rotate them by hand if you want, or what some people do is they actually slightly peg in the 2 halves and then rotate it, and that's actually easy on the fingers, and it's pretty easy. So once you have that, come up to the gun, fold in this piece if you haven't already on the hinge, and slide these on both sides. Okay, now that forms a little hole there that actually corresponds to the handle of the sniper rifle. So fold up the stock if you haven't already, and then use the hole in the front here, in the middle here, and the one just formed by the 2 cannons, and plug in the 2 handles. And that's all it goes in. It doesn't go in all the way, it actually stops there, so don't force it any more than that. Okay, then you take the rifles from Tigris and you plug them in, here. And then you take the handguns from Bovis and you plug them into the side here. And there's a corresponding slot up here as well for this piece. Okay, plug that all in, and if you hadn't already, you can extend the front, or you can pull it back if you want. One thing I don't like, again, as we saw with the cannons from Rex, the shoulder cannons, these don't stay out, which is just weird. I don't know why they must have messed something up, but it's weak that it doesn't actually stay out. So even if you just slightly touch it, or probably even if you just lift it up, well, no. But anyway, you do that, and to make use of this on Feralrex, you go to either Talon or Tigris, and you use these tabs here on the gun. These 2 tabs here, these black tabs, and they have corresponding slots on the feet. So it's kind of hard for me to do here, but I'm hoping I can get that in. There we go. And there you have it. We have Feralrex all combined with weapons and all. Let's rotate this in so you can actually see the sword. Oh, no, no. No. I don't want to mess with this again. Come on. There we go. Tap it in more securely this time, and then I'll just rotate the fist. But yeah, this is Feralrex in all his glory, and I can't even fit him in frame. I apologize for that. My current setup doesn't allow me to really scoot back any further. But yeah, he is awesome. I love him. Definitely my favorite combiner to date. And I own a bunch. I've owned Hercules. I own Giant. I own Advanced Projects Metasaur, M3 Multiplexer, or Intimidator, whatever you want to call him. I own him. So yeah, and I've owned Superion in the past as well. This guy's easily my favorite. And I might be a little biased just because he's massive, and I love massive, and I'm mostly a Masterpiece collector, and I think this, while not Masterpiece skill, it's pretty darn close. And he's just fun. I love the wings. I always loved, Predaking was always my favorite G1 combiner. So when I saw this guy, I was like, I have to have him. One thing I guess I'll show as well, with the helmet, you can install those batteries and have him have menacing glowing red eyes. But yeah, this guy is absolutely fantastic. As with all combiners, you do have to be careful posing him because he is heavy and he is supporting a lot of weight. Lazy Azza, another reviewer and forum member, has like a whole video talking about how best to, pose this guy. So you might want to check out that review if you want to actually try to get him into some dynamic poses. Some things to be aware of with the shoulders, like those head panels, the panels that connect the robot mode heads and alt mode heads. Those need to, if you want to rotate the shoulder up, you need to get those out of the way. But he holds up pretty well, and he has a decent amount of articulation. So he has the shoulders and the legs, but also his toes. He does have some toe articulation at the front. You can bend the cannons in the front, like so, to give him some more posability. So you can have his leg go back like that. But yeah, I'm not going to harp on it too much. I think he looks really good. Some people, again, like TFC's Ares a bit better. A lot of people do own the Unique Toys, which is a lot more G1 in overall design. But I think he's the tallest, especially if you do the tallest setting. And so keep in mind that he's just going to be really big compared to like the Fans Projects combiners and so forth. And I really would love to show you some comparisons, but all my combiners and everything like that and all my toys right now are kind of in storage, so for me to just get them out would be really tough to do. Alright, so my overall take on the Feralcons from Mastermind Creations, after waiting, a lot of people had been waiting since they pre-ordered Talon years ago, had been waiting for this guy to finally finish, and the anticipation, I think, was all worth it once it's all said and done. I think he has a good amount of articulation. He does a great balance of mixing the original G1 toy and cartoon look into this new kind of massive hulking version, which I like about him as well. As far as the individual modes, unlike TFC, which they have their limb bots significantly shorter than the core bot, it's not as noticeable. So when we saw them in the beginning, you saw that Leo Dux was not, their razor claws is not as massively tall compared to the others, as is the case with TFC. But yeah, I think that's it for today, guys. If you have any questions or comments, or if I missed something, let me know. If you want to see some comparisons with my other combiners, I'd be happy to do so. I just can't do that right now. And I'm sure a lot of other a lot of other resources are available to see some comparisons online. Again, I apologize for not being able to do that right now. Okay, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends and family. If you like what I'm doing, please give me a subscribe. I'd love that. And with that, I think we're all done for today. Thanks a lot, everyone. Have a good one.